I've been using VR headsets in sim racing for 5 years now, and over that time I've picked up a load of tips and tricks that are going to make your VR sim racing experience just more immersive, more comfortable, more kind of like, ease of use for long sessions and generally better. So in this video, I'm going to let you know these tips and tricks, and it's going to be crazy helpful, especially if you're new to VR sim racing. Now, this video is sponsored by Pimax. Big thanks to them, but these tips work for all headsets like the Meta Quest 3 or the PSVR 2 as well. And what I want to start with is, I think the most important thing about VR headsets in sim racing or VR generally, and that is making sure that you're getting the best experience out of your headset. Because you could have an insane headset like this is a Pimax Crystal, top of the range headset. You could have a worse experience than this than a lower grade headset that's fitting better. So you want to make sure that your headset is fitting super well. And every VR headset that I've used has basically the same kind of structure in getting it onto your head. And that is you start off with this back strap here. So it kind of goes long and tightens in. I've seen some people trying to put these headsets on without tweaking that. So on the Pimax Crystal, Pimax Crystal Lite, you actually turn it and then you put it in like that and you tighten it. That's not everything, but that's the fundamental of doing it. The PSVR 2, you kind of push it in, it goes back. The Quest 3, there's a different strap, but you want to make sure that when you're putting your headset on, you lengthen it, and then when it's on, you tighten it, okay? Now, when you've got your headset on and turned on, you want to be making some micro adjustments here to making sure your eyes are in the sweet spot. Because basically all VR lenses have a sweet spot, which is where the image is going to be super clear. And this is the point I was making. You could have an amazing headset like this, but if you've got it in a wrong direction, you're going to have a very blurry experience. So you want to get it exactly right and then lock it in. And then a lot of headsets as well have a top strap. I'll show you. So you can use the top strap as well as a final thing to really get that nice and snug. Hopefully you're going to have a nicely positioned headset that's not going to put too much pressure on your nose as well. Some headsets are light than others. This Quest 3 is super light. It also has the top strap and the back strap as well. So really important that you do that. Now, the other thing that a lot of headsets do is have adjustable IPD, and that is your interpupil distance, basically. This again is going to help you get that sweet spot. So you can see how important VR companies place on getting that sweet spot. Something like the PSVR 2 has in the software, you look at some dots and then you can use the wheel to move it. You can measure your IPD as well, so it's really helpful to know how many millimeters your IPD is. On the Pimax Crystal, that has an automatic IPD, so you set your IPD and it moves. But basically, look up IPD, make sure you take that seriously. If you can measure it and you can have your lenses right over the middle of your eyes, IPD is absolutely huge for clarity. Now here's a bonus tip for you. If you're a glasses wearer, it's like me, I normally wear glasses, I'm not today. You can save yourself some massive headaches by getting stuff like these. They come from a variety of manufacturers. I don't even know what manufacturer these are from. I may have an affiliate link in the description, I may not. But basically get the best price and get these kind of scratch-free lenses. These are prescription lenses. So these are with my prescription. You put them in your headset and then you take your glasses off and you can just be here with like your poor vision looking through these prescription lenses. It means you're not in there with glasses in your headset. You're not going to scratch the headset or your glasses. These are just like, very, very, very soft and nice to use. So I really recommend these if you're a glasses wearer. It can make a world of difference. Just one thing to bear in mind. If you do use these and you take off your glasses and then you're in your headset, it's amazing. If you do want to check something and you lift up your headset, you are going to be basically blind again, just so you think that through conceptually. So there is a little bit of a con there as well. Now, the next thing I want to get onto is tracking. This is so important, especially for sim racing, where you want to be like exactly center in the cockpit of the car. You don't want to be floating around in space. I've had big problems with this with my PSVR 2 headset, and I managed to make it better by using things like infrared lights, and you can kind of make sure that it's not things kind of like blocking your vision. So I move my microphone out of the way and things like that. With the Pimax Crystal, touch wood, I haven't had tracking issues. But if you did, there are ways, again, you can kind of solve it, having good lighting and making sure that these cameras here are not dirty, because these cameras are doing the inside out tracking. So tracking is very important. Infrared lighting can help because these are infrared cameras a lot of the time, so they're actually using like a different spectrum to see. So tracking is critical. Audio as well for sim racing. We want to have great audio, we want to hear our engines. A lot of headsets do this in different ways. So when you're looking at buying headsets, check how the headsets do it. So for example here, you can see, oh, I've just realized this is actually the Pimax Crystal. This is not the Crystal Light, my bad. This is the Crystal because it's got the battery in. They're very, very similar headsets. But you can see here the audio, this has these flip down speakers here. So this has integrated speakers in it. The Quest 3 is the same. It has integrated speakers, but it has a 3.5mm jack here that you can use for headphones as well, I believe. And the PlayStation VR 2 actually doesn't have headphones. So the PlayStation VR 2, you'll see me wearing my big headphones over the top. So worth bearing that in mind, because of the way these headsets kind of are designed, they won't all be compatible with kind of like big headsets. It's worth bearing that in mind. Sometimes the benefit of having kind of the over-ears, it feels a little bit more natural. Sometimes you might want to be more kind of like in your VR space, and you might want to have the earbuds that have like noise isolation as well. So worth bearing that in mind with audio. So hopefully this video is helpful so far. I've got more tips for you. The next one is about the frame rate or the refresh rate of the display. This, the Pimax Crystal, goes up to 120 Hz, but it also has like a 90 Hz mode and a 72 Hz mode. Basically, the higher the number there, the smoother everything is going to be if your console or PC can deliver to it. So it's very important. You can't just whack this up to 120 and think you're going to have a great experience. Ironically, sometimes you want to lower this. You want to lower it to like 90 so your PC can handle it more easily. Now, the PSVR 2 also goes up to 120, but in some games, like Gran Turismo 7 running on a regular PC, the game will actually run at 60 and then it will kind of like double the frame, sort of kind of like guess where the frame should be in the middle. Complicated, it's called interpolation. I've done a lot of stuff on it on the channel, so worth bearing that in mind. Experiment with your frame rates. If you've got a big chunky PC, go right to the top, but then you might want to dial it down. For example, you personally watching might prefer being in 90 Hz with better graphics and 120 Hz with less good graphics. So there's a trade-off there. 100% worth experimenting. Like, go into your software and experiment on that. The other thing I want to mention is a lot of these VR headsets, they come with free apps these days. So like my Meta Quest 3 came with Batman, got Batman for free. Pimax are often doing like incentives, so definitely check out the link in the description to Pimax. And on PlayStation VR 2, there are free demos and there are also free updates to existing games you might have, like No Man's Sky, I think has a free update. Gran Turismo 7 certainly has a free update, so you can do your sim racing in Gran Turismo 7 in VR without paying anything extra, which is absolutely insane. So a couple more points that you might not have heard elsewhere, but I think are important for quality of life. First one is battery life on the controllers. So some of these headsets actually work on batteries. This Pimax Crystal works on batteries. Even though this video is sponsored by Pimax, I wouldn't recommend using this on the battery. Like, definitely connect this to the PC. The Meta Quest 3 also works on batteries, also works on the PC as well. But all of the controllers on these VR headsets are going to work on batteries. And it's really annoying when they're out of battery. So you can set some auto off timers. You can basically make sure that they turn off when they're not detecting motion for like 10 minutes. So if you've gone off and done something else, they're not going to be wasting battery. So definitely have a look at your battery auto off timers. It can save you like so much pain when you go on to play and you realize they're out of battery. Is absolutely great. Last thing I want to talk about on PC. So if you're using PC like the Pimax Crystal, any other PC VR headset, check out your renderer. This is getting a little bit complicated, but check out your renderer. A lot of the time, OpenXR works better than Steam VR. These are different ways of doing the VR rendering. I'm going to actually link to a video here on like sim racing settings in VR that has this in more detail. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. But basically, your VR renderer can make a big difference to your experience of sim racing in VR. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you want to see more of these. There's that video up there, and I'll see you next time.